Can we hear each other?
Yep.
All
Yep.
righty. So we're recording. I mean, hey, this is Relationships Are Us. I'm your moderator, uh, the Big Goo. The relationship guru. Big Goo for short. And today we got the Rabbi and we got D. Love Jones. So I didn't know exactly how y'all want to do this today, but we can give a brief introduction real quick of who you are and what you stand for.
Ladies first.
How y'all gonna put me on the spot? Y'all gotta set the tone. No, I'm D Love
Well,
Jones. I'm not a relationship expert like these two guys, but I always get called by my girlfriends and I'm giving the best advice possible. But uh I'm I probably have got more experience than anybody because I done had so many failed situations, but it's all growth and it's all peace, love, and harmony.
I mean, people know the rabbi because they feel the rabbi first before they see the rabbi.
Here we go.
So, they always feel me first, but similar to D. Love Jones, over the years, people have always just came down, sat down, even casual conversations that turn into questions about the relationships that they're going through and their experiences. And I always wondered, I was like, well, they really came over to ask my advice about a relationship situation they got. Not that, yes, they come and say, how you kids, how's the family? And then 2 minutes after that, well, let me ask you what you think about this. So one day, like I told Magic the other day, just sitting around, one of the friends was like, man, you know what, you like a relationship rabbi. And it just stuck. So we just been rolling with it for the last few months here. But I've been giving advice similar to, the one thing about the Big Goo, D. Love Jones, he never really go into detail about his failed experiences. But I've had a couple myself. And so, we just trying to come together and collectively help people not go through some of the challenges that we had to experience. I think that's the definition of being wise. Why go through something that you don't have to go through if somebody's here to help you?
Right, right, right. So, um, I'm gonna have to ask y'all to go to y'all perspective corners, and we're gonna get ready to get this thing started. You know what I'm saying? So, I know what we left off last time. And I expect both of you guys to come out swinging. So the question is, does being broke make a man submissive to his wife?
Okay, so we talking about wives, right? So we talking about husbands and wives. So how is he broke and she not?
Yeah. I mean, when he broke, they broke.
Right. But if she got loot, he got loot.
No.
That's how it's supposed to go down, right? That's why you
that's
gotta watch who you
Post
marry.
that up.
that's how we would like it. That's how we would assume it should go down. Unfortunately, we in our culture today, we base a lot of things on titles. So if a husband is not financially fit, then he's not a good husband, or he's not a good man, or he can't be. I think financial currency is attached to success in so many different caveats. If you don't have money, you can't be a perfect daddy, but yet you help with homework during your downtime or maybe being laid off. Are you making sure the house is clean? But you still get that stigma of, what is he doing if he ain't working? But it's not the same if a young woman fell short and the husband was working overtime and working himself to death. Oh, he a good man, but he working 80 hours a week. But he's not being a good dad because he's not home to see about the kids because he always at work. But that's a whole nother. I done went
No,
down.
I'm I think honestly, for real, I think it's we gotta unlearn a lot of things, right? Like there's a lot of things that we learned that now we, have been toxic. Like we never talk about the toxic you know, I don't even know if there's a real term, but like toxic femininity. Like we don't talk about the expectations that have been put on men that are not necessarily fair, right? Like the expectation that a man is supposed to support the woman and the kids and everything, and the woman don't really have to work. I think even though we've evolved somewhat, you know, from that, and women work and women getting their own money and things like that, I think it's still that expectation of, you know, your financial standing being tied to your value. And if you don't make as much money as her, then it's almost devaluing you to some extent. And I don't think that's 100% fair. I do think that imbalance, that can create an imbalance in a relationship. Like when they talk about in the Bible and they talk about being equally yoked, I think that's still kind of true. Oftentimes it does create an imbalance. And I think the woman has to kind of abandon some of her expectations or the way that she's been kind of conditioned in order for it to work. And then they have to figure out, okay, what do both people bring to the table? I mean, it's a difference between a sorry man and a broke man. Like those are two different things. So I think you have to be in that situation and evaluate it to determine like what it really means for you.
And so if a man is really trying, and he's trying again, but the ball is just not bouncing his way in the time frame that a woman may expect. Say, hey, well, you had enough time. It's been 6 months. It's been a year. It's been 2 years, and you hadn't got the train rolling. Have he has shown you that he's not a sorry man by the way his effort is keep trying, but he just hadn't had any success? Or is it the fact that he hasn't had any success makes him a sorry man?
I wish they had invested that time before they got married. Then we wouldn't even have to answer the question, is he sorry, or is he just going through what we call life?
Things happen when you get married. Things happen.
I mean, but you cut me off. So basically,
who in the ring now?
But no, I'm just joking with Magic. Excuse me, the big goof. But no, it's a valid question. I'm just looking at it in the essence of even the situation that my friend had. You know, when they got married, his wife, you know, she got laid off, but then all of a sudden, it was a year and some change before, you know, she even found work, or 2 years at that time. But before they got married, she was always having issues on the job, switching jobs here. I got let go. I'm going to this job. Got let go. This, that, third. Now, we're not saying she was sorry because she always had a job. It was just her work ethic didn't match the situation. Like, you can't be jumping from job to job to job when you're married and got kids, you know. And it was just her as a person. She wasn't happy with where she was in life. So she was taking out, I would say, her anger at certain jobs. Like, oh, I'm 35. I shouldn't be working at this place. I'm 36. I should be working at this place. I should be where my friend is, this, that, and the third. And she was always getting let go from jobs. But that work ethic, if he had dated her a little longer, he would have saw that she really can't keep a job because of some other issues she has going on without the job force. You see what I'm saying? So when he get married, he's like, well, yeah, I'm gonna support you, this, that, and the third. But when you around here thinking, regardless of how they disperse finances with bills, but let's just say her money that she had was for the baby diapers and the milk. And every month or every 3 months, you turn around, she done got fired, and now you gotta rebalance the finances to get Pampers and milk again because you can't keep a job. That don't mean she's sorry. It's just her work ethic just didn't match what he thought he was getting before they got married. But they didn't date long enough for him to see that.
No, I think that makes sense. I think that some of that can be solved by being with somebody longer before you get married. But I also think like you never really know, how a person responds to kind of like a layoff or, not having, I know I have a friend that I'm really close to that has been looking for a job like legit for 4 years. Mm-hmm. Like just not being able to get back into his industry and his field and like working as a substitute teacher and doing all of this stuff. And it's like, that changes a person, and you probably will never see that side of a person until they go through that. So even if you date somebody for 4 years, that don't mean they gonna experience something like that. That happened when he was 15 years into his career, you know? So I think also it's just problematic. The financial aspect of things can be very problematic in itself, because it's like if you're talking about a lifetime of a relationship with somebody, then you're not going to always get the same person all the time. You know, like you're going to have to adjust with the way that life comes at them as well. And so I don't know if it's just like you're going to be able to know that they work ethic is whatever, because you might think, well, this person had an established career as an accountant, and now they haven't been able to pick that back up. And then you might be telling them, well, why don't you just go, be a football coach, and they like, no, I want to be an accountant. So they waiting out getting another accounting gig for 4 years. And some people can't understand that.
You can't, but that's what I'm saying. I can tell a lot about a person's day-to-day ethic and apply it to their work ethic. It's just like Coach used to say, to be early is to be on time. To be on time is to be late. And I've been in relationships where people have been procrastinators, and those same people will sit there and say, well, I don't know what's going on with and I'm not applying this to everybody's situation, but if you get it up and you showing up to your previous jobs or your current job late, at least I would say 2 times out the week, and then you want to ask me and say, well, why do you think I'm not far along in my career? And I give you the honest opinion. I say, well, in my opinion, I think you're a procrastinator. I mean, I don't have to see you go to work and what you do when you're there to see why you're not where you're supposed to be or where you could be. So for somebody to not be in their profession for 4 years and just keep looking and looking and looking and looking and looking, I mean, sometimes you got to take what you can until you get back. I've been there, yeah, and I just be transparent. When I got laid off from Auto Trader after working there for 8 years with 2 degrees, it was 2 years before I got back into my profession, but I could not take the luxury to pick and choose what I had to get. I had to Uber full time. I had to Lyft full time. I worked at leasing offices for a year, got laid off from there. And I'm looking at myself and I'm like, I know I'm good at what I do. I'm always prompt. I'm always on time. But at the end of the day, you got to walk, like I said to a friend the other day, sometimes you got to go to the cave to get to the castle. And a lot of people don't want to take that journey to be successful. And it's not always financially to define success. It's just being aware or understanding of who you are. That can be success too, depending on the person.
But I still hadn't got the definition of sorry from either one of you guys. Like, I'm still trying to figure out how we're going to sum up sorry.
I think it's a matter of perception. I mean, we gonna probably have 2 completely different definitions, but where Tay took it was, where the rabbi took it was more so like work ethic and really how are you playing into your inability to get and achieve different things, which I think is oftentimes where you say somebody's sorry because they're not out there trying to get it, or they're not grinding, or they don't have that work ethic that you may have. So I define sorry as somebody that's comfortable living off of you and not making their own way. I don't think anybody should be comfortable in this situation.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when you're not living in, the other person is not living in excess where they are offering that to you.
So
yeah, that's a mooch.
For most women, it is hard to love a dreamer. For men, it's not as hard to love a dreamer. Because men are, in most cases, if we can, we are the provider, and we're gonna make sure that we do what we do to make sure everything's straight. But for a woman to love a dreamer, so you say that the guy said, hey, I've been working in accounting, all I'm gonna do is work in accounting. I'm not going to empty no trash, I'm not driving no Ubers, I'm not doing nothing but waiting on, because this is what my dream is. And I dreamed I was gonna make it this way. Women have less patience for dreamers than men. Challenge.
Shit, me. You excuse my friend, but you better get your shit together ASAP because it all comes back to the up now in this example, because that person, let's say we're looking at the age group between 20 and 30, you really haven't experienced a late, like D. Love Jones said earlier, you haven't experienced certain things because you haven't lived life yet. So I didn't experience my first layoff from a great job until I was 30. So I can't speak to that at 20. You understand? But what I can but what I can say is my mother said when I leave the house, everybody needs to be leaving the house, including the dog. You need to go find a bone. You need to go do something, but you're not gonna sit in this house all day as a dog and think I'm gonna come home, feed you, and you just do what you do and come back and lay down again. You got to do something.
They dreaming.
Yeah.
I'm a dreamer too, but I'm a doer. You know what I'm saying? But I'm also a procrastinator. You know, like these are things that I can do myself because ain't nobody like checking me. Like,
but
you want the rabbi won't make it.
Right. No, that's what I'm
saying. But this is where
the girls ain't gonna get it, D-Love.
No, but this is where when you in relationships, if you are mature enough to want to grow in where you know you need growth at, you can say, you know what, that's his strength or that's her strength. This is my weakness. I'm adult. I'm grown enough to say, hey, D-Love, I have an issue with procrastination, but I see that you always on point. I mean, everybody has their day every now and then, but for the majority of the time, you are up at 5. You are making your meal plans. You are balancing your check. You are forecasting everything that you can forecast to your ability for the next 30, 60, 90 days. Can you please help me with that? A lot of people don't want to have that conversation, even with their spouse, that they supposed to be your best friend.
Right, but the question is, are you going to your spouse as a critic? Are you going to your spouse as a problem solver? You know, like, are you going, you know, like, are you saying, look, I got an issue with your work ethic, or I got an issue with your procrastination? Or are you saying, hey, I know this is something that you struggle with. I've been with you long enough to know these are the ways that I feel like I can help you in that area. Because Correct. That's what I feel like. I need somebody that is willing to accept that is like a flaw.
Everybody have flaws, but like I said, it's all about communication, being tactful, and you as a spouse, you will hope that your best friend, who is your spouse, can come to you, and when they say some things, you become in a place where you know it's not personal. And you come in a place where you know it's tough love. It's just like I had a conversation with my daughter the other day. She did one of her math problems wrong. And I looked up and she just got teary-eyed. And I was like, what's wrong with you? And she's like, I always feel like I'm doing something wrong because you fussing at me. I said, stop. Let's go on and break this now because I don't want you taking this along with you in life. I said, did you do what you were supposed to do? She said, no. Then I explained to you what to do before I walked away. She said, yes. But what did you do? I did what I wanted to do, Daddy. Okay. I said, Marla, in life, you can't do what you want to do. Unfortunately, that's how life is set up. I was like, you can't go around. I say, even in, that's why I trickled down into, the prison system and just tell her that's why people sometimes get locked up because they're doing what they're not supposed to do and they know right from wrong. I said, but baby, what I don't want you to do is to go in life thinking that there are no consequences for what you're doing wrong. And a consequence today is I'm disappointed in you because you just did this math problem right. And when I walked away, when I wasn't looking, you did what you wanted to do and got it wrong.
Yeah, but I think you're wrong.
How am I wrong?
Because you wrong, because you tell you she always doing, she did the math problem wrong. She did what she's supposed to do. Did she get up and walk away from the table? Did she, now she may have tried a different way of getting an answer. She may have tried to get the answer.
The answer was wrong. So how does she,
right.
her way didn't work?
But she experimented.
Don't experiment on my time. You
So,
experiment on somebody
see
else's time.
what I'm saying? See, you was wrong. So
Now,
and she had the right feeling.
How am I wrong? And she got all A's.
Right, but she had the right feeling. What I'm saying, she always felt like she's doing something wrong. But because if she steps out and tries to do something that's a little bit different, now this is gonna happen in life where you're gonna say, you know what, baby, go down this road, go to school, get a job, and whatnot. They might say, you know what, I'm not gonna go. Well, I want to try something a little different and see if this formula works. To see if cause how you know that she's not a genius. How you know she tried that way or tried it her way 2 more times, she wouldn't start getting it right.
Guess what?
That baby is not wrong. You know.
Guess what?
Back me up.
Guess what? When she 18 and she on her own, she can do trial and error all she wants. But guess what? She can I'll let you say what you. But what I was trying to explain to her and to your original question was, regardless of what you did wrong, I'm still going to feed you. I'm still going to clothe you. But as your father, my job is to correct you to make sure you do it right so you don't have these mistakes going down the line. So when she's 18 and 19 and she comes in that roadblock in life and she says, you know what? I think I'm going to do this. Because what the first thing she said was, I feel like. Take your emotions out of the situation. If the teacher explained that this is how you do step 1, 2, 3 to get the answers, why would you go 1, 5, 7, 9 and think you're going to get the answer? That's not experimenting. That's doing what you wanted to do because you were being lazy and didn't want to do it the right way, which was longer than you wanted to take. You can't, life is not about shortcuts. Put the time in, put the work in, and you'll get the results.
I agree.
And when she's 19 and 18, she can do what she want to do. You on mute, D-Love.
You on mute.
Oh, sorry, guys. I agree with what Magic is saying, but I think y'all both right, because Magic is saying that's how, like, you think about Facebook, you think about Twitter, you think about all of these social media companies that have disrupted everything. Like, they didn't get it by taking the same approach as everybody else. They might have taken some shortcuts because they felt like there was an easier way. So, but I totally understand what you're saying, Rabbi, because you're saying, if I took my time to explain to you how to do it the right way, then you need to do it that way. But, you know, they say a hard head make a soft butt. Experience is the best teacher. So, I mean, it's as a parent, you saying, look, do it the way I told you to do it, and then you ain't gonna have to, you know, keep messing up. But Magic saying, he's saying, look, do it differently, try it a few different ways, but if you don't get the solution, you're gonna have to circle back around and do it the way that you were taught. But you might actually find a better way.
If 1 + 1 is 2, I ain't no way in the world you can come back and tell me, Daddy,
Rabbi, they teaching math way different than they used to teach math. I don't even understand it.
I get it. I understand. And that's what I'm trying to, and that is what I'm telling Marley. I've learned the new way they taught you. I know.
You can't do new math.
You crazy.
I know I can't.
You can't do the new math.
What's up?
I hate to bring this. I got to bring up Al Pogue in this.
I got that number line down pat, Doc. They can't get me. I got it down pat.
Hey,
that's exactly what one of the issues was. I showed her both ways. I showed her the old way, showed her the new way. I was mad because she got the new way wrong. This is the way they're gonna test you. This is the way they're gonna put it on the milestone test. And she's smart. And I'm not saying she's no way below the medium, but I was just trying to let her know, look here, there are kids taking these tests, sweetheart, that are not being able to go to the next grade because they're doing it the wrong way. They got parents that not taking the time to sit down and help develop you into understanding these requirements in 3rd grade math. They got these kids writing essays, and that's a whole nother conversation. I think it's ridiculous, especially with this online learning, that they expect these kids to take these milestones in 3rd grade. I think the next one is 5th grade. No, 5th, 6th. No, 6th is 3rd grade, 8th grade. I think it's 3, 5, and 8. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, the graduation test. for graduated seniors. Like, how do you expect these kids to flourish and be successful? It's already hard enough to be online, but for a third grader to be able to write a full-fledged essay, and let's just say they have a parent that is not familiar with literature and understanding introduction and paragraphs and things of that nature, that's not success to me.
They don't care because they got a prison cell waiting for that third grader that's not passing their test. They do not care. So you gotta, I mean, without the parents, like, they doomed because they don't care. They like, oh, you got a low test score. We know exactly where you're gonna be in however many years. So,
well, let me ask you this. Okay, because we got to stay into a relationship type of time, but I'm gonna stay in both lanes. But I'm gonna stay in both lanes.
Fathers and daughters are relationships, but anyway, go ahead.
I'm gonna stay in both lanes right now. I'm gonna ask something because this was a situation that happened at a school, and I was helping a dad, with his child. Well, he had two children at the school. He had a boy and a girl at the school. And, we say, hey, because they were trying to determine whether they were going to take the children out of school and send them to Job Corps. And so we're trying to make that decision. So, so we end up the parent-teacher meeting or whatever, however that goes. So I'm there, and I'm there for like a support person. So I'm there, and they're asking the dad, like, hey, why do you think your kids are not performing well and they're not testing well? And the guy, he leans back and he said, honestly, all I can think of is their mama a little slow. Hey. So now, do you think a statement like that will cause a problem in a relationship? If the dad felt like, he was like, the only thing I can think of is the mama a little slow, she's not the best reader herself. But that's the only other reason I can think of why my kids could be testing poorly.
Well, first of all, which goes back to the conversation me and D Love was having, test taking is a skill. And regardless of them teaching and just flooding these kids with all this information, they need to learn how to digest it and regurgitate it under a timeline and perform successfully. For an example, and I'm gonna answer your question, Magic. When you're doing the reading exam, they teach the kids to read the answers first and the questions before they read the passage. In these big schools, the traditional private schools and academies, the schools on the South Side, they just learn to read the passage and answer the question. But do you not know that you reduce the chances of you going back to read the passage if you read the questions and the answer first before you actually start reading? You'll finish the questions a little faster. Magic, I'm asking you. That's the question.
I don't agree with no.
Yeah. So test taking is a skill. Second question: some stuff is hereditary, but it takes a village to raise a child. So regardless if the mama was slow, was she in the room when the dad said that?
No, she wasn't in the room.
Of course she wasn't, because they probably would have been
together.
Yeah, they were together.
Oh.
That leads to my next question for you, D Love. Like, could you see yourself being with someone that you feel like you were smarter than?
Yeah.
But first of all, that was my question.
I'm sorry. I don't know. That was a knee-jerk reaction. That was.
No, I'm with you. No, let me tell you. That is a very good question. Let me tell you, that's a very good question, because oftentimes I think you have to redefine what you really consider smart, right? Because when it comes to book smart, yes, I could see myself being in a relationship with someone that I'm more book smart than, because what I look for in a man is more so street smarts, as well as, formal or, educated intelligence or whatever. because the first man that I loved is like that. My father. My father is a blue collar worker, but we could talk about stocks and bonds and all types of stuff, and he still be giving me the game on politics and things like that. But he don't have a formal education. He got a GED. So to me, what I love most about him is his street smarts. I love that you can't run game on him in no way, shape, or form. But do we have the same level of education? No. But that's not necessarily what matters to me. Like, I do want to have, I don't think intelligence has to be equated to having a formal education. So I do want you to be intelligent. I don't want you to be slow. But I would rather a man this quicker. I would rather a man that's quicker than me, that got more street smarts than me, and maybe even more common sense, because that's gonna be more beneficial to me in a relationship. Like, I want him to be like, hey, that ain't the way you need to approach it.
So what if he had the street smart, but you go to a restaurant and now he's street smart, he with it. He know how to handle himself in the streets. He know how to, hey, look, don't fall for that. Don't do this. But you get to a restaurant and he like, you can't read the menu. Like,
you talking about like illiterate?
He can't read.
That's just so hard, Magic, because like, I think it like not completely illiterate, but like, listen, you can teach somebody how to read though. We can. Well, let me tell you though, seriously, my daughter's dad, his first language was not English. So I can definitely say that I was still,
You said, so you saying your daughter daddy can't read?
His first language is not English. So when we were together, I was having to read stuff for him and break stuff down for him because English is not his first language. So if I look at it from that perspective, then I would say I don't want him to be illiterate, but that doesn't mean it's a lot of people out here who are doing a lot of amazing things and they still struggle with formal literacy.
Right. So D-Love, so it's been out on the street, it's been out in the community, it's been out everywhere. Like, this is just a rule of thumb I'm hearing, like, hey, women love a broke man because they say, hey, more professional women would prefer a broke man because he's a better lover in some instances. They say he's a better lover. They say a guy that's not that bright is a better lover. You know what I'm saying? They say it ain't nothing like, I hate to use the term, and I'm trying to keep it PG, but they say the term is, there's nothing like dumb dick. And so just from your perspective, and I'm, and I'm not trying to say anything about you, D-Love, but I'm just saying, like, probably in your lifespan, I'm pretty sure, like, there were a couple dumb ones in there.
Okay, let me say all of this. If you want somebody that's just there for the sausage, then go for it, right? But you don't want to be having a conversation that the man was just having about his kids, and you got to explain why your kids is a little slow in certain areas because you decided to be with somebody and procreate with somebody that you knew was a little slow because they had some bomb D. Like, to me, like, yeah, I'm just way past that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're going to have to come with the whole package, and it ain't always going to be like, oh, you might have to give in a little area, but that's not going to be my primary area. Like, I'm not going to choose the D over all of these other qualities.
Now, Rabbi.
Mm-hmm.
Now for men, we see a body, we see bodies, we see she bad, she can be dumb as a doorknob. You know what I mean?
As they say, she's dumb
as we're not thinking, hey, if I get her pregnant, what my baby is gonna be special. That's not a thought process to us. Am I right or am I wrong?
I'm with you, I'm listening.
So, like, is it a deal breaker? Like, for, like, she says it's not a deal breaker for her that, like, if he, can't, maybe a little bit illiterate, may, be a little bit special.
No. It's a difference between illiteracy because I'm educated enough to know where the root of that lies, right? lack of education and lack of formal literacy skills is something that is attributed to systemic issues in our education system and things like that. So I can think past that, and I can meet someone and know that they are naturally intelligent, but they may struggle in that area. And I'm not going to be like, oh, he's slow.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say, oh, he probably lived this type of life and he didn't, you know what I'm saying? He didn't get that formal education. But I'm not talking about somebody that's slow. Yeah. That's a whole different thing.
You are a great woman. I like, you're a great woman. Like, I need to meet a woman like yourself that, because I know I'm special. Like, I know I just don't get it. You know what I mean? Like, but I learned to use it, in a productive way. Like, hey, I say all the time, I'd rather be retarded than stupid. Because if you're retarded, you get assistance. People help you. They you have less expectations. Like when I tell people all the time, when I was going to work at Department of Labor, all the time, they'd be like, hey, you late, you supposed to be here at 8 o'clock. And I'd be like, well, what happened at 8 o'clock? Ain't nobody tell me what was going on at 8. So they say, you know what, we're just gonna get him an assistant that can be here at 8 o'clock. He just not gonna get it. And when you go into a relationship, that's where men mess up the most in relationship, is being smart, being intelligent. That's the worst thing a man can do in a relationship, is be intelligent, because now that woman's gonna say, you should have known better. You put yourself in a situation to know better. I don't know better. I'm special.
Well, I'm gonna tell you this. I was gonna respond when you gave me the question. I think if you know she's slow and you slow enough to lay down and procreate with her, you just as slow as she is. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you know, okay, she got a bad body, but I know I can't have no kid with this chick, then you strap up. Like, I'm not, that should have been your first go-to anyway, especially in these days and times. But
that's a sensible answer. But you didn't put it on the line before. We all done put it on the line before. It just been that we didn't gamble. We didn't roll the dice.
I done rolled the dice, but I ain't never rolled no dice with no broad I thought was slow. I'm being.
You did. You probably ain't know she was slow at the time.
If I'm sitting here interested with her, yes, I do know.
Yeah, you don't know every. Listen.
How you would tell me about my life? I love how you tell me about my life. Like, you love telling me what I done did.
You a typical man. You think you a typical man where you?
I know this right here.
Out. If she bad, she don't even gotta say nothing.
If she bad, she probably got. If she bad, she probably got a mama or a daddy that's probably not hitting on much, not that smart. Like bad, like if she bad, like. I think that's the curse for being like, if you like, I think that's the curse for being like if you were like if for a guy, you like the girls kind of guy, you like that fly guy and such, and you ain't really hitting on shit because you think you the shit. You might get cursed with a bad daughter, like your daughter might be bad, like she might be the shit, like, because so. Like when I see a bad woman and I see a bad one, I be like, shit, somebody ain't shit somewhere. Like I automatically think that.
It's women right now that's bad and brilliant. Like, stop it, okay?
Yeah, I know them. Parents ain't hitting on nothing.
No.
So okay, let's flip it. I know you have daughters. We ain't gonna tell the number because you probably want everybody in your personal life.
I got 2 daughters.
Okay, so you have 2 daughters. So you mean to tell me you the one that ain't shit?
Yeah, I think I gave my daughters their attributes to society. I'm the one that cause I'm the one that had life screwed up for a long. Like I was that, like I was hell on wheels.
Okay.
Let me tell you what you do. I feel like what dads do, that when they ain't got their act together, all they do is welcome the same type of men into their daughters' lives. That's what I think. I think then you get to see a reflection of yourself in the people that your daughter ends up dating. That's where it's cringeworthy. That's where you really see that reflection. You be like, dang, I was a good dad, but you wasn't a good person to maybe her mother or to other women. And so look, now you see she dating a person who was just like you used to be.
Or maybe she chose him because he reminded her
Right.
of her.
Very true, because he can have some of those same attributes.
But
So
like a goddamn Beyonce, her daddy ain't shit. So he had to go with so every man in the world talking about banging your daughter. Like, you know what I mean? Like this is the curse that happens. Like, you know what I mean? Not saying that, she's a bad person or something. I'm just saying, like, hey.
Hold on. Let's be clear. Beyonce mama tough. So you would assume
Her daddy probably wasn't nothing.
No,
okay.
It was like the song say, my dad in Alabama, my mom Louisiana. You see what I'm saying? So her mom is still attractive in her peer group. So if you could rewind the clock 40 years ago, her Beyonce mama probably better than Beyonce was in her twins. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is, when you see two attractive people, more than likely you're gonna assume that their kids gonna be attractive. So I don't think, in that essence, to your plot twist, what about it could have been Beyonce mama? Because she probably had every Negro in Louisiana trying to get her, especially if she Creole, which I think she might be, speaking that twang. You know they was after, but it took a slick cat from Alabama, just like you, sir.
Right. So, why do all these unattractive pastors have such attractive daughters?
I
don't know that correlation.
I'm not even going down that road with you.
Right. So
I ain't seen a lot. When you say pastors, you speaking of black pastors, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I mean, I hadn't seen a bunch of I don't know what's attractive when it comes to different races. Like, everybody look, like once it gets past our culture, I don't really I can't say that, I have absolutely seen a very unattractive white person as I can say I've seen an unattractive black person, because, because we more conditioned to seeing black, our people, like we know what unattractive is, but like usually when you see somebody that's unattractive of a different race, they have some kind of like they have some kind of like disability going on.
Magic, I'm really concerned about what you're saying right now. Like, and I'm not trying to say that you're saying what you're saying, because I feel like I'm trying to think that you're not really saying what you're saying.
Right.
Right? Because
what he's saying, and I don't understand.
Because, like, first of all, yes, I can see literally right now, I can spot them out in the grocery store. White girls that look like trash, and Hispanic girls that look like, it's just easy. Like, attractive is attractive, unattractive is unattractive. Now, if you would have said, I don't really look at, like, and dissect other women because I'm really only attracted to black women, then I would have been like, okay, I'm gonna let him have it. But you basically,
that's something the rabbi would say.
That's okay. It ain't about being politically correct, but that's the tactful way of saying what you're really trying to say. But to say that somebody that's unattractive, that's Caucasian, has to have a disability, I don't agree with that.
But that's also like Guru. Like I can't get with you on that, because it's almost like you saying, no, all white people is beautiful, but sometimes they look bad if they have a disability. That's kind of like,
do you get upset as a female? Do you get upset with black men that find white women attractive?
No, I don't get upset. I get upset with black men that find white women attractive and start to demean black women as a result, like to justify whatever they feeling internally with themselves. That's my issue. If you love who you love, it don't matter to me, because that's just who you love. But when you stand in this position of, oh, I got my white queen because white women is this, and like when you start with those comparisons, you start demeaning women that look like your mama and your sisters and your aunties, that's when it's a bigger issue to me. So I don't care. Date who you date.
See, because I remember when the rapper, he had him a little bunny.
What? What are you talking about?
Like,
No, no. Listen, if you speaking of a story I told you, I never. Let me clear this up to D Love because I see her facial expressions.
I'm just
And she
interested. Like,
yeah,
what's up?
he is being magic, but I'm gonna tell, like I always say, I think that's what makes me unique is I'm always transparent. Now, when I was in high school, growing up in East Point, there was a young lady
In
that was,
East Point?
yeah, I'm from
Did you go
Washington.
to a private school?
Listen, no, in the Tri-City, come on now.
I said it was white people over there.
That's what I'm getting.
Let me let you tell the story. My bad.
It was one white girl
You found her.
that went to Tri-City, but because she grew up around us, I don't know if it was something in the water, but she was built like a sister. She had a body. If you covered your eyes and you just moved your hand around her silhouette, when you opened them, you would think she was black. That's how she
It
was
seems
built.
like a very vivid memory for you.
No, I'm just being transparent.
I mean, because the way you was like talking through, it seems like
No, I'm
like it was top of mind for you.
I'm a storyteller. That's my gift. That's my superpower. I make you
Okay.
feel like you were there. You understand?
Okay.
So,
Okay. All right. It seems like you was reminiscing a little hard right there.
but what ended up happening was, playing football. I wouldn't say a nationwide like superstar, but locally I was pretty known. But being popular, she want all the black guys in the neighborhood always wanted to talk to her. All the black chicks was cool with her because that's what she grew up around. She hung around black girls, talked like black girls, talked like, But when she wanted to date me, I come up in a multicultural household. My dad is from West Africa, so my mom is from Alabama. So that was a little different. She grew up during the civil rights. She was in second grade when their schools was mixed with their white counterparts for the first time, and they raised us differently. They didn't raise us to hate people, of course, but they raised us to respect our culture. And the young lady wanted to date me. I said, you were attractive. I said, everybody, crazy about you, but I can't do it. You know what I'm saying? And so my best friend, we was coming from football practice one day, and he said, bro, what are you doing? And I was like, what you mean? He's like, shawty, you ain't bit down on there yet? I like, bro, I can't. He said, I understand the chicks gonna be mad. They gonna be pissed, but the fellas gonna feel you. They gonna understand. He was like, but you ain't gotta date her. I say, but that's what I'm saying. She ain't trying to just have sex. She ain't trying to just smash. She really wanna date. And I was like, I just can't do it. You know what I'm saying? So he's not telling about this story, but I just want to be transparent. I don't want to seem like black men can't be attracted to any other woman based on their race.
Yeah, I had a big thing for Sandra Bullock. That was like what I'm talking about. Blindside, I saw it. Like it was so.
You wanted that white savior?
Man, listen,
That's what you was attracted to.
Listen, I went to looking at my birth certificate, trying to get adopted and everything. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this had to be the luckiest guy in the world. Like, I said, what was really going on? Like, why haven't I got blessed like this? You know what I mean? And to even have the conversation, it was starting to get offensive to, I was in my situation at the time, and and my other half at the time, she was like, because I'm touring, I'm doing comedy, I'm traveling, and she like, oh, I bet you if you was in California and you ran across Sandra Bullock and you had a chance to be with Sandra Bullock, I bet you'll be with Sandra Bullock because you'll be way in California and I wouldn't know nothing and so forth. And I'm like, nah, look, you need to get to know me because Sandra Bullock can be right here in this house and you can be in the next room. And and I'm not passing on Sandra Bullock. Like this, And it was but for a man to express, you know, his admiration for of a woman of a different race, religion, creed, or whatever it be, sometimes as black men, we don't get those passes. Like, you know, like we zone, like we, you know, we put on this thing like you better not admire anything but a black woman. And if you do, you are some kind of Uncle Tom, or you're some type of weak black man that don't respect your sisters, don't respect your mothers, don't respect your daughters, you don't respect where you come from. If you have any kind of attraction or strong attraction or express a stronger this desire for anything besides a black woman, we are held to that standard.
Okay, so let me ask y'all this. Do y'all feel like black men are more attractive than black women?
Say that again.
Yeah, we had both lean and scream. What?
That was a very simple question.
No.
Do y'all feel?
You said black men are attractive.
No, listen. I'm saying in a general sense, not like y'all gay. I'm saying when you think about where black men sit in overall attractiveness in this grand scheme of things, right? And black women. Do you feel like, I'm not asking y'all to say, yes, I want to holler at a black dude, but I'm saying, do y'all feel like black men are more attractive? More people want to be with a black man than more people want to be with a black woman?
Okay, that sounds
better. The Mandingo, you know what I mean? Like,
that sounds better.
So you are okay with the hypersexualization of black men, because you do realize that's what that's about, right?
No, globally, I think it's factual.
Globally.
How would you know? You straight, so you don't know. I know.
Globally,
yeah, I know when I walk into the room, I see how, you know what I'm saying, I see how women look at these shoulders.
No, man, so what she's saying. I'm gonna reword it for some magic. Let me bring it down to the side level, because he ain't.
I told you I was special.
Let me break it down. So Magic, you go to Africa, you go to Brazil, you go to any continent on this world, right? And then you take a black woman, she go to any continent on this world. Who do you think who's gonna get hit on more? You or the black woman?
The black woman.
Okay.
And why do you think that?
Because there's something about the black woman that's really magical.
But do you really think so? But that's why I asked y'all from a more general sense, because if you think about it, everybody trying to get them a black man right now, right?
Black man.
But so I don't think black men give black women credit for our dedication to you all. You know, like, we want y'all for who y'all are, not just because of what y'all have, right? In a more general sense. Like, most black women that I know, a black man is their first choice. And it's not because of it ain't because of the Mandingo theory, you know, like, but I don't think that that's always the same way for black men. I think black men are more like, you know, love who you love. And black women are like, nah, I want a black man first. And so I think when it comes to y'all being criticized for wanting women of all backgrounds, I think that's where the tension lies, because not only have we been just beaten down by everybody, right, as black women, but it's also like our dedication to you, we want it reciprocated, but it's not always, right? And even if a black man is with a black woman, that doesn't mean that he is pro black women the same way we are pro black men. You know,
I don't know, D-Love. I like you did so nice and strategic how you presented your thought. But for me, just knowing, being a black man, and even when I spoke to you about the young lady, you was like, where did you go to school? You know, so I haven't been around a lot of Caucasian teammates, high school, college, you know, went to HBCU. The first time I probably had a classroom full of white people was in grad school. And even then, you know, the black men that was in that dynamic all wanted black women. I mean, I can speak on one person that I know personally, And I know a lot of people, and I'm talking about as far as more than just associates, as our real close friends. I had one friend that married outside our race. He married an Italian, and if you black and you see them down the street, you'll say she white. Forget the fact that she says she's Italian. She white to us. So all my close
Italian American, if you Italian American, you're white.
yeah, but when we see you in Dillard's, you white. Ain't anybody ask you about them questions. So, but what I'm saying is that all my close knit circle, my cousins, my uncles, we've all married black women now. But this is the caveat to that. If it was a time that they did have a blended family, it's a baby mama. It's not a wife. You see what I'm saying? So I'm just giving us a little nudge of credit, saying that yeah, we do dabble, and yes, we do have kids. And I'm not promoting to have kids without marriage and just that thing, but things happen. But when we do have it, in my circle or in my lifetime, it has been a black woman that they have married. And if they did have a outside interracial child, it was a baby mother and not a wife.
Right.
I'd like to give you credit for saying that the black woman is pro-black man, and I can attest to that to a certain extent, because today's black woman is more pro-security than she is pro-black man. White women don't see black men as security unless they are on a certain tier. So the options for black men to have a black woman is not that wide. So, but I think that the black women are more likely to date outside their race than a black man now, because they're more pro-security.
No.
That's a tough question.
It's not true.
I'm gonna be love speaking that.
I'm telling you, right? I mean, if so, I try not to, but I do. If I survey my circle, I'm in the same boat as the rabbi. Like, ain't nobody in my circle down with nothing else but a black man first. That's what I'm saying. Top priority. If you gave me what I wanted, if I could draw a picture of him, he'd be a black man. If God said just draw him, tell me what you want, that's what I want. Like, to me, and so for me, it's not even about attractiveness, but maybe that is where it is for men, right? Because maybe when men are going based on attractiveness alone, that's why they're just more open to women of all backgrounds. But for me, it's really about like how you were brought up, what your values are, what your beliefs are, and all of those things. And to me, it's hard for me to marry the way that I feel on a day-to-day and my opinions and thoughts, and really finding somebody that I could vibe with that came from a white family. Like, he got to be on some other stuff all the way for me to be like, oh, okay, from the intellectual level and on a, just us being able to connect in that way that's not necessarily physical, it's going to be hard for me to form that connection with a white man. Because the first time we start talking politics, or the first time he be on some all lives matter, it's going to be a real problem. And so that's where, like, I already know that's why that's not even attractive for me.
It's funny you mentioned that. I saw an interview with Dr. Umar, may have been 2-3 years ago, and I don't think he was on the Breakfast Club, but he was somewhere. But they had got on that topic about the athletes and the celebrities who marry white women. And I never looked at it like that. And Dr. Umar said it. He said when a black man marries a white woman, he's showing his political views. And and you just spoke to that, and I'm like, wow, that's crazy. I never looked at it. And he just, got into different chambers and broke it down. But like you saying, that if the topic came up about Black Lives Matter, he was just saying that particular person would probably say, yeah, Black lives do matter, but all lives matter too. And he has that mindset because he has a white wife. So he's already showing you his views politically before the issue comes to mainstream like it did this past summer. But It does say a lot about how you marry. It does say a lot about how you politically view certain topics about the African
And I
American
just feel
community.
like, from my perspective, I feel like black men, like, I mean, this is not, it's not me being like anti-feminist, but I would love to see the black men taking a lead in some of these, activist campaigns and all of that stuff. Like, I would love to see black men at the forefront of it. Like, if we go back to your original question, like, should if the man don't have no money, should he be submissive? It's like, I don't really feel like it's natural order for a man to be submissive. Like,
Mhm.
I just don't. You know what I'm saying? And it's not that doesn't demean me. Like, that don't mean I need to be under his feet. You know what I'm saying? But I don't think that it's like a natural order for a man to be submissive. And I think it could ultimately cause issues on both sides. Like, if a man ain't bringing nothing to the table, so that he got to do everything the woman say, then how is that going to make him feel based on what is inherent to him and how he should stand up as a man? So, but it's like, if you go, like, I don't necessarily feel like as a woman I should take the burden, or like, I would love to be in a situation where I have somebody to follow that I
Exactly.
believe in, that is intelligent, that is powerful, that is strong, that is all of those things. That doesn't mean that I'm less than him, but I just, have always revered the position of a man. And if they're doing the right thing, as they should do, like, I feel like they have the power to lead, like they have the power to change lives, and not that women don't, because we see it happening right now. But I'm not all like, oh, let's make black women the face of everything and leave black men behind. I think we all need to be there,
I appreciate that. That's heavy. Miss D Love, I enjoyed you. I think we got a lot of dialogue built today, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in face to face next Sunday. Correct? Are we zooming still? We'll talk about that. We'll talk
Let's
about that.
just ask the CDC what's the right
Yeah,
recommendation.
okay,
Let's just go based off CDC recommendation.
Look, before we go, I got 2 topics that we can discuss next week. Oral sex, is it a standard by black women now, like Cadillac seats? Is it a standard? All Cadillac seats come with leather. I don't care what trim you get. If you get the extra trim, the $50,000, $60,000 trim, you gonna get leather seats. Nowadays, oral sex used to be a cliche for black women back in the mid-90s, or in my peer group, 92, 93, 94. I ain't gonna do that. But right now, we got music and we got certain songs that are promoting oral sex and the things that come with that. And a lot of black women these days and this timeline are not really offended by it. So I just want to know if you feel comfortable with that topic. Is that something that you disagree with or agree with? And 2, should you remove pictures of your ex when you start a new relationship on social media?
I think we should build. I think we should
Look like you
build.
was moving one just then. You looked over.
My phone was going off. Like, I think we should build to like the sex conversations and stuff. It's not that I'm. So let me just say, it's not that I'm uncomfortable. Let me say this: it's not that I'm uncomfortable per se, but it's very private to me. And so I like if we was having this conversation among me, you and Magic, that's different. You know what I'm saying? But it's like I don't know if I want something to live online where I'm talking about, sex and oral sex and all of that extra stuff. Like, not that we can touch upon it.
What you were asking or the thing, say when what context with the thing is it? Because I don't think you were asking it in a context, in a personal context. I think you were asking it in a context of, is it a new norm?
Correct.
I wouldn't mind talking about it as part of a broader conversation, but I wouldn't want that to be our discussion topic. So let me say that.
Yeah.
So because I wouldn't want that to be like our entire conversation is based on that.
No. Oh no,
but
no.
If it's brought up within a conversation, then I can say as much or as little as I want to, but it's not like the headline is not.
Nah, that ain't gonna be the headline.
You know what I'm saying?
That's just small talk. You know, we're a little more educated than that.
Yeah, so it's
that's
like,
what somebody slow would do.
But
Somebody slow didn't know how to.
but it's a real conversation, and I'm
But
not.
that does bring up something though. But that does bring up something about what's aggressive and too aggressive in the bedroom, and what if your partner asks you to do something that you're not comfortable with doing out of the blue, out of and does that, and can that destroy a relationship? You know what I mean? Because you were like, oh, I didn't know you were that nasty. So let's so I think it's, I think, like, I don't think it's just oral sex. I just think,
I mean, you could do people that swing, people that go to trapeze. There's a lot of avenues that can be the headliner of the conversation. I just thought because of like I said, the music that's been coming out here recently with the young gentleman with the song called Throat Baby, you got females bouncing around, in the club with their bottles singing the lyric word for word. So they're promoting something that they hear, but at the same time, when we hear the word B and ho in songs,